Israel, right, including the four major countries. UAE and Saudi Arabia. We'll have one discussion on these two countries. Israel, right, including the Palestine conflict, given the recent developments, and our ties with Iran. This is what we'll be focusing under West Asia, including some groupings of West Asia. So first, let's see if there are any questions on Central Asia. Simultaneously, is there, especially, right, that connect the not solve. Let's say, yeah, let's use this map here. You are suggesting that we use the Black Sea route to create shorter connection from Russia to India, but that will not solve the problem of the choke points, right? You will still use the Turkish straits over here. There are two important straits that connect the Aegean Sea with your Black Sea, which is the connection to Mediterranean. All right, you have the Dardanelles Strait and the Bosphorus Strait near Istanbul, and Turkey controls both of them. So Turkey's cooperation will be needed, but both are choke points again. If Turkey cuts off access, the route will come to an end. You will still depend on Suez Canal, which is a major choke point. Now, given the conflict which has erupted between Hamas and Israel, the trade route itself is a risk. Then through Red Sea, you reach Bab el Mandeb again to connect with India. Right? So this is the route you are suggesting. It is possible, correct, theoretically, but practically it's not feasible. Right? There is Sudan here going through a civil war. There are terror and radical groups operating. Right? There is civil war in Yemen. There is piracy in this region. So again, the same risk factors will exist. That's why INSTC is better. It will bypass all the choke points, creating a much shorter, more efficient route. So theoretically, it's a great idea. It's good to think on those lines, but practically it will not work out. Plus, our ties with Turkey is the problem. Turkey, India have very bad relations in the last few years. So this route may never work out. All right. Appearing in our issues, which led Armenian countries, so it we did for NATO's like 5 years. West Coast India, China has when the border dispute when the 120. India has major interests in West Asia, and the important countries here, the major powers, let me point out. The major powers here are Iran, which is a Shia power, then Turkey or Turkey, Saudi Arabia and UAE, which are the major Sunni powers. They lead the Sunni power bloc. Because in the Islamic world, there is a sectarian divide between Shias and Sunnis. This sectarian divide in Islam plays out in West Asian geopolitics. There is a history of rivalry between Sunni powers and Shia powers. Iran gets the support of Syria and Lebanon, which are also Shia powers. All the Shia countries here are aligned. They even back few Shia terror groups and other radical groups in the region, like Hezbollah, for example, which you might be hearing about in news. Hezbollah, which is based out of Lebanon, is backed by Iran and Syria as part of their covert war against Israel. Right? Hamas, however, is a radical Sunni group. Right? As Iran is committed to wiping out Israel and supporting the Palestinian cause, it backs Hamas in Gaza Strip. So it's an active conflict zone here. The Israel-Palestine conflict has always defined the geopolitics of West Asia. It's not a new issue. Some of you might be hearing about it for the first time. Maybe for the first time you have heard about Hamas, the conflict here, but this is an age-old issue. There is a very big history behind it. We are going to discuss that. So Israel-Palestine issue has really affected the region, divided the region as well. Turkey wants to become its own power bloc. It wants to become a leader of the Muslim world. So all these countries have their own rivalries going on. Even small countries like Qatar, even though Qatar is a small nation, it has played a big role in geopolitics, right? Then Egypt, even though it's an African country, it does share a connection here with West Asia. right? This region, the small triangle you're seeing here, this is the Sinai Desert, the Sinai Peninsula. This is what links Africa with Asia, right? It connects Egypt with West Asia, basically. So it's a vital junction here. You have the Suez Canal. You can see the Suez Canal. You can see the Red Sea, right? This here is Gulf of Aqaba. Gulf of Aqaba over here. It's a very narrow water body, the Gulf of Aqaba. There are 4 countries present in such a small distance. Around the small water body here, you have Egypt, Israel, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. 4 countries are sandwiched in just one small gulf. That's the Gulf of Aqaba. All right. Then you have Iraq, which has seen a lot of volatility, conflicts, right? Even in Iraq, there is a strong Shia influence. Then even Eurasian countries like, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia are sometimes seen as West Asian countries as well. You have Yemen going through a civil war, Oman, then Kuwait. These are the major powers present here. Now, the moment you look at this region, there are a few things that come to mind. I'll list them out one by one, which explains our interest, and then we can close for today. See, in West Asia, there is a deep-rooted sectarian and geopolitical divide. This is one thing which comes to our mind immediately when you think of West Asia. One is the Shia-Sunni divide between Shia and Sunni powers. There are major geopolitical factors here like Israel-Palestine conflict. All right? These are some determining factors that determine the geopolitics of West Asia. Next, the region is extremely volatile. It has seen multiple wars. There are active civil wars going on in Syria, in Yemen, right? The region is very badly affected by radicalism because many countries here, they're all conservative, authoritarian monarchies. You don't have democracy, free rights over here. Most countries are authoritarian, from Turkey to Saudi Arabia to Iran, right? They're all conservative regimes. Many are monarchies and authoritarian governments where there is no space for democracy, fundamental rights, and human rights. So the radicalism, then conservative, authoritarian regimes, the rampant terrorism, and the state support that has existed. Many countries have used terrorism as a weapon to wage covert proxy wars against their rivals to protect their own interests. All right? Iran has sponsored terrorism. Syria has sponsored terrorism. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, right? Egypt, Israel as well, Turkey. All of them have a history of sponsoring terrorism in the region. All right? Even external powers, USA, then European countries, Russia, they all have contacts with terrorist organizations. They've all played a role in backing these extremist outfits. So the region is very, very badly affected by covert proxy wars. India-Pakistan rivalry is nothing in front of this. Rivalries between Iran and Israel, the rivalries between Shia-Sunni powers that we have seen in the past, right? This is extreme kind of rivalry where countries go to any extent to damage the other side, right? It doesn't even compare to India-Pakistan rivalry. That is the kind of volatility seen here. Now, in such a volatile region, we have major interests. And the first priority for us is our energy security. As these are oil-rich countries, almost all of them are oil exporting nations, right? They're blessed with oil and gas reserves, which is critical for India's energy security. As you know, India is heavily dependent on energy imports. We don't have enough oil gas reserves. And almost 85% of our energy requirement is met through imports. Is that clear? 85% of our crude oil gas requirement is met through imports. Out of this, 60% of it is coming from West Asian countries alone. This explains how important West Asian countries are for India's energy security. Essentially, our economy is dependent on West Asian countries, on their supply of oil and gas. Our economy can come to a standstill if oil supplies and gas supplies are disrupted, right? And disruption is a common threat because the region has a lot of tensions and volatility, right? Wars can break out at any time. There is terrorism that is present. You have choke points like Hormuz Strait, which could block shipping from Persian Gulf towards the Indian Ocean, towards India. You look at the map again. All the major oil and gas producers and suppliers are surrounded by the Persian Gulf. They are present around the Persian Gulf. This is where all the shipments come through into Gulf of Oman and then Arabian Sea. And here you have a choke point, the Hormuz Strait. So any tensions here, any conflicts, any terror attacks, any breakout of a war could disrupt oil supplies to India, and it could disrupt oil markets, shooting up prices, which will increase the import bill for India, which delivers a huge economic shock to India. Right? So there is a great deal of dependency that we have with regard to our energy security. The next important interest we have is the Indian community, the Indian diaspora. You have a very, very strong Indian community here across these countries, and our diaspora is more than 10 million plus. Most of them are blue collared workers, meaning they're not very well educated or very well skilled. They're all semi-skilled laborers, daily wage and manual workers who find a lot of employment job opportunities. Many of them are nurses and caregivers as well. So they find plenty of job opportunities here from states like Kerala, then Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, right? Punjab as well today. So from across India, a lot of Indians are settled here, taking up such blue-collar jobs in sectors like healthcare, hospitality, construction and real estate, and even in the oil industry. So a lot of semi-educated, semi-skilled Indians, they find these low-paying blue-collar jobs that gives them stability, that gives them better opportunities than what they get in India. So many of them migrate to West Asian countries, right? You also have some students and professionals, but the numbers are smaller. The number of Indian students and professionals here, the number is smaller compared to the large number of blue-collared workers who work here. So more than 10 million plus Indians are found here across these countries. So ensuring their safety and well-being becomes our top concern. As the region faces so many threats from wars, civil wars, and terrorism, at any point Indians could get caught in these conflict zones. So protecting them, ensuring their safety, and if required, evacuating them becomes a priority for India. As you can see in Israel right now, close to 18,000 Indians are trapped, right? We have seen many such instances where Indians are trapped. We had to evacuate them to ensure their safety and well-being. This Indian community contributes to our cultural influence here. They're acting as soft power tools of India, and they are giving us influence as well with these governments. They are contributing to our economy by sending remittances. Almost half the remittances we get is coming from West Asia, because this is where we have one of the largest diaspora communities. Today, India gets more than $100 billion in remittances. We are the world's largest recipient of remittances. Out of that, more than 50% is coming from the Gulf, from West Asian countries. That's more than $50 billion. So this is backing our Indian economy. It's helping us to bridge our current account deficit, right, and stabilize our economy. So the Indian community is playing a key role. They are driving our cultural influence, acting as ambassadors of India, promoting our influence across these countries and governments, right, and sending remittances back home, which is crucial for the Indian economy to bridge current account deficit. So it's only a duty of the Indian government to look after their safety and well-being, right, to protect them from any threats, evacuate them if needed, and also to look after their overall welfare. Because since most are blue-collared workers, many times Indian workers are abused in West Asia. Employers and middlemen, they might dupe them, they confiscate their passports, they don't give them proper salaries, they give them very horrible living conditions, right? So they may not get enough payments, they may not get social security like insurance and pensions. They might face problems with passports and visas. They even face sexual abuse as well, including exploitative bonded labor kind of abuse has been noted against Indian workers, right? Especially women and children are at risk, as many times these middlemen or traffickers, they push them into trafficking rings and prostitution by taking them here on the promise of jobs. They promise them jobs and take them here, and later they are trafficked into prostitution rings, which are rampant here. So there are many concerns for our workers who are present here. So looking after their overall safety, well-being, and welfare is a top focus for India. All right. So these are the primary interests that we have in West Asia. So let's stop the discussion. Tomorrow we'll continue from here. I'll explain a few related points, and then we'll start out with each country. We'll look at UAE and Saudi Arabia together. Then we'll study Israel and Iran. Of course, we'll talk about the current crisis as well, the Hamas-Israel conflict, which has broken out. So let's meet tomorrow. Let me know if everything is clear.